Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at gcnlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked. Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USA Prepares. We're delighted you're with us in class today, and we broadcast 2 hours, Monday through Friday, from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. Kyle's engineering the broadcast in Minnesota. I'm Vincent Finelli. And if you'd like to call us, you'd like to talk to Dr. Joel Wallach, 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. And if you'd like to travel with us and take us along, 605-477-3249. 605-477-3249. That's our listen line. Repeat, 605-477-3249. Dr. Joel Wallach's with us this morning, and I'm delighted to be broadcasting with him. Welcome, Dr. Joel Wallach.
Well, good morning, Vincent. The warriors gather.
You know, I was in the shower this morning, and that was the word that came to my mind, warriors. And here's a way I'd like to. It's kind of a different approach, but I'd like to bring this up with you. You know, you have been on stage, and we've been on the same stage together. And when you are in front of an audience, and when I'm in front of an audience, they look toward us. They look toward us for leadership. Now, and we have a kind of a presence to lead the seminar groups. And here's why I'm mentioning this. This is not bragging class. This is just a result of being a business owner. And that's why I want to talk about this in this particular path this morning. When you're a business owner, and you can be, and we're going to tell you a little bit about that today, you can start your own business. And you can pay for things that, with the funds from the proceeds from this business, that will help you in your life. But it will also do something really important, and that is change the way that you think. And what I'm saying is, Dr. Wallach, when he gets on stage, he has a command presence. As a business owner, he takes charge. He makes decisions. He asks lots of questions everywhere he goes. Everywhere he goes. If he's in a restaurant, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Wallach, don't you want to know who, what, when, where, why, and how your food is prepared? You want to get the optimal serving for nutrition and health, and you want to make sure that it is to your specifications. Isn't that what you do?
Oh, absolutely, Vincent. In fact, if I don't make the waiter or waitress cry, I'm not doing my job. I ask them so many questions. I want to see labels. I want them to bring me packages so I can read labels. First of all, because the life of the people I'm having a meal with is more important than, a 25-year-old waiter or waitress saying, oh, yeah, that's okay. That's not good enough for me. And so I will question and question and question. And like I say, if we don't bring them to tears, then we're not doing our job. Because when you eat out, you're really placing your life on the line.
You're absolutely right, because you don't know what's happened in the kitchen. You don't know what's happened with the guy or the gal who's washing those pots and pans, and whether they're rinsing the detergent, off them, whether they're cooking with aluminum, which oils they're using, and of course the ingredients that come out of the packages. We really don't know. And so what I'm saying, Dr. Wallach, is having your own business changes the way you look at things. You become more discriminating as to what you like, what you don't like, what the optimal solution at that time is, what the optimal solution for the long run is. And you're looking really for the best solution all the time. And here's a very simple example. This is really not related directly to health, but it is in a way in terms of my outlook. And if I were not healthy, I would probably just say, never mind. And here was the situation. I got my tax bill. class, and I mentioned for real estate taxes. And the assessment went up. And I decided that was not going to set well with me. So as a business owner and someone who's relatively healthy, I decided to challenge it. So yesterday, I showed up at the appointed time, and I challenged my real estate taxes, and I got our assessment lowered. Now, if I were not healthy, I'd probably say, I can't do it. It's too hard, too much work. So this changes your outlook, it changes your focus, and it changes everything in your life, everything that you do. Is that the way it is for you, Dr. Wallach? Because it is for me.
Well, it is, and of course, that's one of the beauties of the Youngevity business. Is not only do we help people with their physiological health, but also their financial health. I'll give you a quick example, if I may. For instance, when you own your own little Youngevity business, whether you come in at the $25 level or the $500 level, because there's different levels, you can go to the more expensive ones later on. You don't have to come in at the higher level. You can come in at the $25. You own a business. Now, as a business owner, you do a little business plan. If you've never done that, we have a book called Wall Street for Kids that teaches you in 5th grade reading level how to put up a business plan. In the business plan, you're going to give yourself benefits. Just like we work for a big corporation, and one of the attractions of working for a big corporation is they offer benefits to the employee in addition to their salary. And one of the benefits you can give yourself in writing on a piece of paper, makes it a legal document, that your business, your Youngevity business, is going to pay your monthly premiums for your health care. It's going to pay your monthly premiums for your life insurance. It's going to pay your monthly fees for your fitness center membership. It's going to pay your monthly fees for your qualifications for Youngevity, so you can get a check from us. And you write that all down in the business plan, and it works. And people say, well, I'm only making $50. I've only been with Youngevity a couple of months. I'm only making $50, $100 a month. That's not enough to pay the $1,000 for all these things you're talking about every month. I said, well, what you do, you continue paying it, but you start a separate account for your Youngevity business, get a separate credit card, separate checking account, separate savings account, and every month, instead of writing the check to the insurance companies for your health insurance, your life insurance, your fitness memberships, and your qualification purchases from Youngevity, you put that money, you write a check, and you transfer the money to your business account, and then you write the check from your Youngevity business account to the insurance companies, health and life and your fitness centers and your qualifications. And then it becomes, and you loan that money to your business, and then say a year down the line, 2 years down the line, when you're making enough money, you begin to pay yourself back with 10% interest. And guess what? Why would you want to pay all that interest to the bank when you can pay that interest to yourself? It's absolutely legal. And people will say, well, hey, come on. Well, if that were true, why didn't my accountant say, well, you don't even need a bookkeeper anymore, because every month you're going to get a statement from your checking account, bank, and your savings account, your credit cards and so forth. You just put in a file for every month. Your bookwork is done. You're going to save that cost too. And say, well, how come my bookkeeper didn't tell me about this? Well, because you're an employee. Do you own a business? No. Well, why should you waste his time talking about these things if you don't have the mindset to own a business? Capture all those benefits that are available to you for $25. So before the ink is dry in your application, signing your name, before the ink is even dry in the application signature, you're already making thousands of dollars because of these deductions, legal tax deductions, getting the same tax deduction the billionaire gets. You're going to get back a significant amount or all of your withholdings plus expenses that are surrounding your business, like a home office, the utilities share of your home office. Okay, and let's say you're doing 10% of your home space for your home office. Your mortgage, your lease is $1,000 a month, just for easy calculation. 10% of that is $100. That's $1,200. That's $1,200 a year. You're getting back right there. Then 10% of your utilities and 10% of your homeowner's insurance. You're going to get that back at the end of the year. You'll get back a significant portion of your withholdings. And then when you throw in, you go to events, you're getting 54 cents a mile, both going and coming. You're going to pay for your airfares. You're going to pay for your meals and hotels. That's all tax deductible. You can get back $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 at the end of the year. You give away samples. Those are tax deductible. Suddenly now, you're getting the same tax benefits a billionaire gets for a one-time fee of $25.
You're absolutely right. And I've been teaching seminars on this broadcast. I've done 5 of them. I'm going to do the 6th one in next week about exactly that 54 cents a mile. The clothing, if you make presentations and you decide that you're going to get some clothing to to make that a special event, that's tax deductible. The meals that you buy, while you're traveling, the hotel, everything that you've said is absolutely true. And I do that. I absolutely do that. And it changes your outlook on life, because what you will end up doing is you'll be looking more carefully at everything that goes on around you. You'll make better decisions as a business maker, because you'll say, this is my profit. I'm either keeping it or I'm wasting it. And it's a great way to go. And becoming a business owner versus an employee, in my life, I have noticed that one thing that's absolutely true, and that is that business owners seem to be better off on the whole than people who have jobs. Is that what you see as well, Dr. Wallach?
Well, absolutely true, because they get to keep a bigger portion of their income. Also, they're always looking for growth. When you're an employee, if you can get 25 cents an hour raise, you think that's a victory. And it'll, at the end of the month, it'll pay for a tank of gas. But when you're talking about a business owner, you're looking to expand. For instance, in Youngevity, we started out, we had one product. We just had our basic minerals, our liquid minerals. That was our product. Now we're talking 20 years ago. This is our 20th anniversary. We have 2,000 products now. We purchased 22 companies. We grew not only one by new customers and new distributors, going to trade shows and giving lectures at universities and high schools and hotels, and putting little advertisements in the newspapers, and training other people to do the same thing that I do, having tools they can use to leverage their time and leverage my time. Suddenly now, we're on the stock market. We're on the NASDAQ now. And when we started, our stock was 23 cents a share 5 years ago, and everybody kind of chuckled and laughed at it. Well, now we're trading between $6.50 and $7 a share in the NASDAQ. We're there with the big boys now, just simply because we did exactly as you said. We watched what we spent. We made sure we got every legal tax deduction we could. We don't want to take away the tax deductions from billionaires. They're very smart if they don't pay taxes, because they're using legally the rules that are in place. And if you're an average American, you use those tax laws for yourself, you should get back all your money at the end of the year. You should not be paying taxes if you're running a growing business, because you're going to be investing in your business. It's all tax deductible. You get the services, you get the product, and the government actually pays for it for you, because it gives you the tax deductions if you do everything right.
Class, I hope you heard what he said. I'll repeat a little bit of it when we come back. Class, Dr. Joel Wallach's with us, and I'm going to give you a telephone number in just a few minutes that will help you if you want to start your Youngevity business. We will help you, and $25 will get you going. But Dr. Wallach, I believe you said that you should not be paying taxes if you're growing your business, and I totally agree with that. And when Donald Trump was on stage with Hillary Clinton, she wanted to know how much he paid in taxes, and he would not divulge it. And I'm of the opinion that he pays very little, if any, in most taxes, because he has read, and he has some of his staff read the tax code, so that he can use those rules to his advantage. The same rules that you've been talking about, that billionaires use, that you use, that I use, and they're available to all of us. It's not a secret. All you have to do is read them, and you can download most of them from publication 17 at irs.gov. Are you in agreement with that?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And of course, the mechanics of how to set up your personal accounts for your business, so you're not mixing your income from Youngevity or any other sources with your personal. That's where you start getting in trouble. When you take a check that Youngevity might send you and you put in your personal bank account, now you're mishmashing stuff together, and the IRS does not like that. They are going to dig through everything you do. They're going to look at your dandruff, right? And so you have a separate series of accounts, separate credit cards. If you have two cars, you can sell one of your cars to your Youngevity business for $1, and then all of the maintenance, the insurance, the mileage, everything from that car that you're going to use exclusively. You might have a logbook in there in case you might need it for 10 miles in one day because your kid's got your other car, you need to go to the grocery store. Just record that mileage and subtract that at the end of the year, but you have a logbook to prove that. And suddenly now that car becomes a asset which is making you money, instead of a negative where it's costing you money. And so there's no reason why everybody can't do this. And again, these government things are available, which you're making available to people. The book Wall Street for Kids. People need to get their family involved, so by the time the kid is old enough to have their car, they buy the kid a car. And if the kid is doing the business, they have a logbook in there, and all the mileage that's due to the business gets deducted properly from the kid's business, including percentage of the insurance and everything for the car. And it saves some money. They can pay their own tuitions. They don't have to get a student loan and go broke. And I did this with my 4 kids. I mean, I made my kids business owners when they were less than 2 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yep, our boys are business owners too, and for the same reason. In class, here it's as simple as this: 54 cents a mile. If you're traveling for your business, a business trip, whether if it's a Youngevity trip to meet someone or to get product or to ship something in the post office, let's say it's just 10 miles. That's a $5.40 tax deduction. If it's a 20-mile round trip, that's $10.80. It adds up. Believe me, it really adds up. But you just have to pay attention, write down what you're doing, and keep your receipts. What I do is I jot what I did, why, and the purpose on each receipt in pencil. And if I'm audited, no big deal. If the auditor says, "Do you have it?" Yeah, sure, it's right here. Let me dig it out. I'll get it for you. Bear with me a minute. It's here. But class, you have to be prepared to be audited, and it's not a big deal. All an audit is just you substantiating what you've already claimed. And if you read the publication, the tax code, which is easy, it's like 35 pages, you'll be grinning from ear to ear. You'll say, "I can't believe I can take all of these deductions. I can't believe how far I can make my money stretch. I can't believe that I can increase my income by 25% just by not paying the governments."
And it costs you a one-time fee of $25. A one-time fee of $25. I'll tell you an audit. I only had one audit in my life, and I was making a lot of money. I was making more money than doctors make in a year every month as a distributor before we started Youngevity 20 years ago. And they wanted to audit me. Very few people make that kind of money, so I said, sure. And my office, I said, "Where's your office?" "My office is in my house." So they came to the house. It was actually a woman auditor. And I said, "Here's the key to the house. There's a refrigerator. There's a stove. There's the pots and pans. Help yourself. Cook. Get anything you want out of the refrigerator. Here's my filing cabinet." My whole business life is in these 5 drawers in the filing cabinet. And everything is proper month by month and year by year on the files. When you leave, just lock the door and put the key under the mat and let me know what you found. And she said, "Well, aren't you going to stay and argue point by point by point?" I said, "Why? It's all documented on the receipts. It's all documented on the statements from the bank and the credit card companies, and that's it." And guess what? They paid me more money back.
It sounds like our first audit in Virginia. The auditor left the home, spent 3 days in the dining room, and wrote us a check. Class, here's that number. If you'd like to connect with us and call the Youngevity Protocol Order Hotline, 417-863-7149. 417-863-7149. Dr. Joel Wallach is with us. And Dr. Wallach, I have never seen you unhappy. I've never seen you be anything other than positive. I've never said, "Hey, Dr. Wallach, how's it going?" and had you complain about anything. I missed 2 flights. I'm stranded in the airport. Never ever heard anything other than positive statements from you. And here's my question. Is it possible for a person to be healthy and happy at the same time? I don't think so.
You have to be happy if you're healthy. And of course, I've been doing this supplement program twice a day for 74 years. I have not been sick in 74 years, not even with a cold. I have never had any prescription medications, never any in my life. I have never had any surgery. And nobody's going to steal an airplane with me on it. 5 guys that are going to get an airplane. Okay? And so it's one of those things where using the Chinese method of aging, I'm 78. Using the American method of aging, I'm 77. And I go through the airports, go through security. They say, "Do you have extra proof?" No, it says here you're 77, but you look like you're 40. Well, I feel like I'm 18. You get a lot of privileges when you're over 75, and I thought, well, my privileges, well, you got to give us more proof. So I've got about 5 different IDs that show my birthday and everything. That really freaks them out.
Mm-hmm. So here's my take on this. Being healthy is important, and if you need to improve your health class, Youngevity is a great way to do it. We do it here. Before the broadcast, I take Beyond Tangy Tangerine, de-stress, every day before the broadcast. Then I do the same thing at lunchtime, and then I do the same thing at dinner time. My mom does it. My mom had, she's been diagnosed with CHF for decades, congestive heart failure. And Dr. Wallach said, oh, okay, that's pretty simple. Beyond Tangy Tangerine and de-stress, and it'll help her, and it absolutely has. You know, my mom runs around the house. She lives with us. She's in her mid-90s, and she's going strong. So, you know, it absolutely positively works. So you can buy these supplements, and you can start your business, and for $25, we will help you. And that fee will go to Youngevity. We'll help you get started. And here's what will happen. You'll have a different outlook on life. You'll start challenging things. You'll start reading the tax code. You'll say, wow, you know, I don't have to wait for that 25-cent per hour raise from the boss if he feels like it, if she feels like it. I can give myself a 25% raise by starting my own business. I can become more financially independent. I can, instead of paying for insurance, I can make my own insurance. I can make my business my insurance, my financial insurance. And it's absolutely true. That's what I've done. Many, many, many decades ago, I decided I wanted to be financially insulated from all kinds of things. I was able to, the last time I had a job, literally, the last time I had a job was 1989. I've made my own way since 1989. It's absolutely true. And you can do it too, if you want to. Now, I'm not saying that it's like winning the lottery. It actually takes some work. It takes some planning, takes some effort. But it will change how you look at things. It will change. Dr. Wallach, I didn't go to school to learn how to be a broadcaster. I just thought, you know, there's some things I needed to share, and here's one way of doing it. I wanted to have an expo, and I wanted to advertise it. And how do you get the message out? So I looked into buying advertising. I thought, oh, there's got to be some other ways. Then I was offered a slot on a radio station. And the next thing I know, I'm doing 1 day a week, 1 hour a week. Then it's 5 days a week, 1 hour, and then it's 2 hours, 5 days a week, and it will give you the courage. It will give you will develop the courage if you decide to start a business to do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. You know, the two things that I didn't like doing.
You're right. You're exactly right, Vince. If I may insert something here.
Sure.
One of the biggest drains on people's economy, you know, from their wages, is the health issues. These pre-existing conditions that are breaking families. 85% of all bankruptcies in America, personal bankruptcies, are due to medical costs. So these pre-existing conditions, congestive heart failure, like your mom, cardiomyopathy, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, musculoskeletal stuff, arthritis, lupus, dementias in the family. These things are an enormous emotional drain, a energy drain, but also a financial drain. And just like you saw with your mom and her congestive heart failure, even at 90-something years old, we've known for 300 years, for instance, Vincent, that congestive heart failure is a deficiency of a single vitamin. We've known for 300 years congestive heart failure is a deficiency of a single vitamin. And medical doctors and cardiologists build empires, financial empires, on congestive heart failure with medicines and surgery over 20, 30, 40 years. Well, what if you can get rid of it in a couple of months? Healthily, cheaply yourself. It's going to cost you $3-4 a day. You know, it's about half the cost of an exotic cup of coffee and a day. And congestive heart failure goes away because it's a deficiency of a single nutrient. We've known it for 300 years. Nobody should have congestive heart failure because if you take your 90 essential nutrients prior to, you'll never get it. Because it's like putting oil in your car to prevent the engine from burning up. You don't wait till the engine burns up to put oil in your car. Well, I'll save a few bucks. I won't put any oil in the car. And when it burns up, then I'll put oil in the car. That's dumb. But that's the way people look at health. They just say, well, I'm eating well, and if something happens, I've got good insurance. Well, good insurance costs a lot of money now. There's so many insurance companies leaving the states, and so that people don't have access to health insurance anymore. And so your Youngevity access the healthcare and the books, Let's Play Doctor, Epigenetics, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, will teach you how to do your own physical. You can do a $2,000 physical. Your doctor does for $2,000 and bills your insurance company, gets your disease on a permanent record and increases your insurance cost. You do it yourself. You can go to the pharmacy without a prescription, get the same test strips he uses for $1.50 each. You get a bottle of 5 or a bottle of 10 for blood and urine and the equivalent of a colonoscopic exam. You can do the same $2,000 physical for $4.50. You can do a physical every month for that cost for yourself and your family, and it's tax deductible as part of the benefits of owning your own business. And you put that into your business plan that your Youngevity business is going to provide the cost for a physical and all the costs of laboratory work and everything every quarter, every year, every 6 months, every month, however you want to do it. Put that in the business plan, and that $450 is going to take for you to do your own physical, because you got to go buy the test strips from the pharmacy without a prescription, is tax deductible. It is crazy what you can do. And so, and this is why I've never had to go to a doctor. People come out like once every 5 years from the life insurance, and I won't see doctors, so they send a nurse practitioner or a PA, and my blood pressure runs, remember, I'm 77 years old, my blood pressure runs 90/60. Is there even medication? No.
Wow.
And my pulse is 39/41. They said, are you on medication? No.
Wow.
And I said, I've been this way since I was 18 years old when I was wrestling for the University of Missouri, and I expect this to be this way until I'm 200 years old. You see them roll their eyes. And I've been doing this for forever. And, of course, the Max Planck Institute, Vincent, I don't know if you heard this just the other day, a week ago, the Max Planck Institute in Germany, I mean, they are way ahead of the curve when it comes to health research. Big medical school there, been there forever in Germany, Max Planck Institute. And they came out and said, they looked at the research from 5 different universities around the world, and they said it appears there is no endpoint to human longevity. There is no endpoint. 75, 105, 205, 500. There does not appear to be an endpoint. I've been saying 200 years is easily within our reach. And here comes Max Planck Institute, came out just a couple of weeks ago and said there does not seem to be an endpoint to human longevity. If you do everything right, avoid the bad stuff and do the good stuff, you have the possibility of living forever. Because there is no endpoint.
And if you start your own business, you can do that tax-free. Dr. Wallach, you mentioned something that made me chuckle as you were saying, and I was smiling behind the microphone here. You're talking about insurance. And you were at the Get Prepared Expo in Springfield, Missouri, and there was a guy who contacted us, and he said that he was a financial planner, and he was going to teach people how they could be financially independent. And so I let him speak. And what he did was he kind of morphed that into buying life insurance. And after his seminar, he came up to me and he said, "You people are mean. Those people in that seminar were really kind of mad at me. And, all I was trying to do is tell them, to buy life insurance." And that's the exact opposite of what we do. We try to make our own insurance. We try to stay healthy and prepare. But this guy's, he's saying, look, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about anything. Just give your money to the life insurance company, and then they don't go under. They're always going to be there for you. But they don't protect and defend and prepare. They're just there after it's all over, right? And that's not what we're about. We're not about after it's all over. We're trying to make everything as good and pleasant and as healthy as possible. So he was on the wrong page, and he never came back. Of course, we couldn't let him come back because he had the wrong message. But you're absolutely spot on. We have to make our own insurance, and through being healthy. But I really believe that once a person becomes more healthy, his or her outlook changes. And it's not very expensive to do this. It's actually more expensive not to do it. It's way more expensive not to do it. I always learned very young, many, many times over, I've heard an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? A stitch in time saves... Yeah, a stitch in time saves 9. Absolutely right. Dr. Wallach, you travel around the world, and you fly and you speak to all kinds of people. And I'd love to hear you... How many was that?
1 million miles a year, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, 1 million miles a year. So you meet all kinds of people. And I'm thinking about people, when you land and you give seminars, so you're in different countries and you get different villages, and you get to see different diets, the local diets. You get to see different amounts of sun, different climate changes, different humidities, air pollution, all those things, what grows locally. When we come back, can you share with us your thoughts on where the diet and the climate has an impact, positively and negatively, and what we need to do about it in different areas, and how we can make the best of where we are. We'll be right back, Dr. Joel Wallach, and I'll give you that number when we come back. Plus, I'm going to give you that telephone number, the Youngevity Protocol and Order Hotline, and we'll help you get your business started if that's what you choose to do. And that's 417-863-7149. 417-863-7149. We'll help you get started with your business, and I think you'll enjoy the same tax deductions that Dr. Joel Wallach gets, that I get. It's all above board. It is just using the tax code that's available for anyone who wants to use it. It's right there, and it will absolutely change your life. There's no question in my mind. It will change how you look at everything, And Dr. Wallach, you travel around the country and you see diets, and you see different amounts of sun and humidity and overcast and pollution, and what do you see that really works well for people to help them with their longevity and health, and what is bad for them that you can summarize quickly in the few remaining moments?
Sure. Okay, well, first of all, it's very amazing to me that third world cultures, where the top 20 longevity cultures are, there's only one culture in the top 20 longevity cultures in the world that's a first world nation, an industrialized nation, actually a culture within an industrialized nation, and that's because they heavily supplement. Everybody else is a third world culture. They don't even have electricity, and they're still putting their wood ashes in the gardens, which are a source of minerals, and that's why they have 40 times 100 over. They have 100 over 250 this population. We only have one for 10,000, because we have utilities. We're not putting the wood ashes back in our gardens, and our food, our plants, all of our plants only require 3 elements from the soil. We require 60. So if you're eating plants that are fertilized with a commercial fertilizer or just the local compost, you're 57 nutrients short. And that's why we rank 43rd in the world in longevity and health. We rank 43rd, Vincent, in the world in health and longevity. The 42 other countries are all third world cultures, okay, that these people live longer. And so the only way we can get what these third world cultures are getting is this supplement. And that's what I learned 75 years ago, and began to supplement 74 years ago. I learned this a long time ago, that the only way you were going to get what you needed to prevent and reverse disease was to supplement. You cannot get it from your food, no matter how good the food is. You raise it yourself. It's organic. Organic does not mean more nutrition. It means safer from the standpoint of excluding pollution. So it's imperative to supplement with the 90. Make sure you're getting good, clean food. Get the best food you can get. And then whatever you get from your food is value added. But you're going to make sure that you're getting everything you need. If you're just eating well, it'd be like putting dirt from Texas, 6 quarts of dirt from Texas in your car instead of 6 quarts of oil. And people say, "What on earth are you doing there? You're going to kill your car putting 6 quarts of dirt from Texas in there instead of 6 quarts of oil." And say, "No, there's bound to be some oil in there. That's dirt from Texas." Now, an insane person wouldn't do that to their car. But that's what you do to yourself when you just eat well and expect to get everything you need by eating well. You must supplement. We do that for animals. We've tripled their lifespans. We've eliminated every birth defect. And so this is where the focus has to be, no matter where you live in the world, no matter what faith you are, and no matter what economic status you are. If you supplement with the 90 essential nutrients, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 fatty acids, you will add 25 to 50 healthy years minimum to your life. And this report that came out from the government a couple of years ago, our children will be the first generation of Americans that do not live as long as their parents. If we supplement them, the normal cycle will take place. We should die at 200, and they should bury us and live for another 100 years after we're gone. And so that's the way it should be. And if we supplement properly, that's the way it will be. If we just depend on what may or may not be in the food, you've already lost the battle before you start. And everything else, if there's no sunshine, you live up in Alaska, there's no sunshine, we have vitamin D3 spray, we have vitamin D3 capsule. You take that. We're getting rickets in kids now because they're inside working on their little devices. They never get out in the sun anymore. We have every disease you can think of skyrocketing. Obesity, diabetes. Obesity is due to a nutritional deficiency. It has nothing to do with lack of exercise and eating. Type 2 diabetes is not genetic. It's a simple nutritional deficiency of a single nutrient. These pre-existing conditions can be gotten rid of through a guy by the name of Vincent Finelli in the preparedness group.
You know, Dr. Wallach, I grow the best grass I can for our cows. We raise black Angus cows here on the farm, and we give them supplements. Why? Because we want them to be healthy. You know, if they're healthy, they live longer, they reproduce better, they bring better prices, and they're less trouble for us and themselves. So why would we not do that for ourselves? We do it for our animals.
And our kids.
Why not? Why not us? Dr. Wallach, thank you so much for being with us.
God bless you, Vincent. Keep up the great work, warrior.
Everyone all set? Cocked, locked, hour number 2 of USA Prepares. You know, for those of you new to the class, there are over 200 of us here at usaprepares.com. Experts in various areas. We're innovators, we're dentists, medical doctors, engineers, surgeons, CEOs, broadcasters, editors, researchers, authors, physicists, programmers, farmers, and students rising to become instructors. None of us is capable of taking direction very well. It's absolutely true. And I'm delighted to be broadcasting with your newest instructor. Her name is Peggy Gawley. Let me spell that for you. Gawley. And today's hour number 2 is about Medicare. What is Medicare? Medicare 101. And Peggy is a individual health insurance advisor and expert, and she specializes in Medicare and individual health for those under 65. She is our medical advisor here at USA Prepares. She's mine, okay? And Mrs. Finelli's. And she's got a couple decades of healthcare experience, including cardiology, radiology, orthodontics, ear, nose, and throat, medical records, billing claims, and health insurance. She's been a national speaker at the Medicare Supplement Conference in Kansas City. And she's a graduate of at the university. She sang at Carnegie Hall. She's an advocate. She's a teacher. She's an educator. And she's a nurturer in the field of health insurance. She's been a caregiver for her brother who had AIDS and her sister who had breast and cervical cancer. She's cared for her elderly mother in her home. So she's done all the things that you would expect a good person to do for her own family. And welcome, Peggy Gawley.
Thank you, Vincent. I'm so honored to be on your program and help people with Medicare.
The honor's all mine, Peggy. And I'll tell you what, it'd be interesting if you would share how we met in your words. That'd be great. A great way to start this broadcast hour.
Sure. I received a phone call from Mrs. Finelli, and someone had recommended me, and she said I needed help. She needed help with insurance, and she was going to go on the internet, and I said, I really would like to take the time to help you prepare for this. And Medicare can be very complicated, so I'd like to sit down. Your health is your biggest asset, and to take the time to prepare for choosing an insurance plan that's going to take you through all your retirement years, it's a really, really important decision. And I take each one of my clients and treat them as if they were my own family. So she called me up, and so we had a conversation. We met in person, and the tools that I gave her opened her eyes to helping her make a decision that's going to give her the best health plan that she could possibly get. So what I would like to do on this program is encourage you to do your research, and you want to find an agent that is not representing one company. They're going to represent all types of plans, and they're going to sit down with you and help you choose something that's going to work best for you. So I was able to do that, and here I am today.
And, we spent over an hour together at your office. I was with Mrs. Finelli, and I want to make it clear to our class that Mrs. Finelli just didn't say, I don't know what to do, I give up. She spent days and days and days researching on the internet, and it was extremely confusing because the language is somewhat cryptic, and she would make calls to the providers, and they didn't necessarily give her the correct answers. She'd wait on hold for a long time, and then ultimately mistakes were made at the marketplace level, which threw us into chaos and ultimately got my health insurance canceled, and we didn't even know it. We didn't even know it. And you jumped in and resolved it. But and boy, did that take a lot of time. Peggy, I'm not exaggerating, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but in order to correct our health insurance that the government made a mistake on by canceling, they gave us bad information. After an hour of being on the phone with a government representative at the marketplace, and the assurance is that everything would be just fine and we could do exactly what we wanted to do, we found out our insurance was canceled. But to fix it, it involved me on the phone, simultaneously with Mrs. Finelli on the phone, simultaneously with you on the phone, and someone from the marketplace and from an insurance company. 5 of us for an hour on the phone just to rectify one small mistake that was made at the marketplace. Is that right? Am I exaggerating?
No, you're exactly correct, Vincent. And the thing is that you really need someone that is your advocate and that understands the healthcare marketplace. They have call centers, and so you can call one time and call the next time and get a different answer. So I'm actually certified on the marketplace. So you want to find someone that is certified, that understands the entire process. And, I feel like with my background in all the different areas I've worked in healthcare, cardiology, radiology, claims, that I have, I'm going to call it grandma's recipe, because all of those things that I've been able to, the experience that I've gained, when situations like this come up that are extremely taxing and time-consuming and stressful, Vincent, your health insurance was canceled. You needed to get prescriptions. You needed to get things accomplished, and it took several layers to do that. So that's someone that's got your back, that's going to be knowledgeable in that area and know who to talk to and how to get the straight answers. That's what I'm here for.
And what I found interesting on this multi-person conference call with you was that because of your knowledge, you would say to both the insurance provider and the marketplace, now, let me see if I understand. You're going to be doing this. Is that correct? And you would let them know the keystrokes that they needed to type in to make sure that they didn't make any more mistakes. And then that'd be followed up by another question like, okay, so I understand that you just did that. Is that correct? And you would guide them through what they should have known how to do anyway. But you had to make sure that they did it right so they wouldn't mess it up again.
Yes.
Okay.
And
so the point I'm trying to make, class, is this is a minefield. And when you move from below 65 to above 65 and you go to Medicare, things can really go wrong. And they have for us. Literally, we were canceled at the wrong time for us. I mean, it was a really, really bad thing to have happened because we got bad information from the marketplace. And what Peggy Gawley said was that you can place a call and get one person, place a call a few minutes later, and you get a different person at a different call center, and you can get different information. And if you don't know, or if you don't have an advocate on your side, that bad information can lead to what happened to me. Actually, we tried to make sure that it didn't happen, but we still couldn't because I believe that in the marketplace, they're an equal opportunity employer. They'll hire anybody, whether they know what they're doing or not.
Yes.
And it's frustrating to us. So, Peggy, why don't we talk about the original Medicare? Let's get into that. What is it?
Okay. Well, original Medicare is it has 2 parts to it. It has Part A, which is hospitalization. That can be inpatient care in the hospital, skilled nursing care, hospice care, and home health. So Part A is anything that pertains to inpatient care. And Medicare Part B is anything outside. You step one toe outside that hospital, Medicare Part B is medical insurance that helps cover services from doctors and other healthcare providers, anything outpatient, home health care, equipment, and many preventive services. So the main part of Medicare is original Medicare is Part A and Part B. And so when you turn 65, you basically have this what's called this initial enrollment period in Medicare. You have 7 months, and that's where it is so important to take your time. And as an instructor, I want to help people prepare for this because your mailbox is going to get very full very quickly, and it's overwhelming, as Mrs. Finelli found out. So just taking it a step at a time and understanding basic Medicare is going to help you in this process. So Medicare Part A is your hospitalization, inpatient, and Medicare Part B is any medical expenses.
Okay, and is the premium the same no matter who enrolls in this?
Okay, and that was my next comment. Okay, so the cost for Medicare, if you have been employed 40 quarters or 10 years, Medicare Part A is free. So when you turn 65, they automatically give you Medicare Part A. The other part, Medicare Part B, is there is a premium. There's a base premium for Medicare Part B of $134, and it's based on income. The base rate is $134. And in another session, I'd like to talk more about Part B because there are income guidelines for Part B. Depending on your income, you would pay more. So Part A is of no cost if you have worked 10 years, and Medicare Part B for 2017 is at $134. And if you're drawing Social Security, they automatically deduct that. If not, then they send you a statement. So.
Okay. And when we come back, Peggy Gawley, I'd like to give out your number, your contact number, and would you tell us when we come back what is covered? What are the deductibles? What's our share? What is covered? What's not in Part A? Peggy Gawley.
Sure.
We'll be right back. Class, Peggy Gawley's with us. This is What is Medicare 101? And I'm going to give you a phone number if you need to contact her. It's in Springfield, Missouri, 417-881-8333. 417-881-8333. That's her work number. Peggy, Medicare Part A. What's covered? What's our share?
Okay. So Medicare Part A, which is your hospitalization, Medicare Part A covers semi-private rooms. It covers meals, general nursing, drugs as part of your inpatient treatment, and other services. So Medicare Part A, there is a deductible. And this is, again, we're talking original Medicare Part A and B. So if you just have Medicare, there's a deductible of $1,316 per benefit period. And a benefit period begins the day you're admitted as an inpatient, either in a hospital or a skilled nursing facility, and that benefit period ends when you haven't received any inpatient care for 60 days. So if you go into a hospital for one benefit period and one has ended, a new one begins, you must pay the inpatient hospital deductible for each benefit period, and there's no limit to the number of benefit periods. So, that can be quite expensive if you just have original Medicare and you're responsible for that $1,316 deductible for the benefit period. Now, after that benefit period, it's zero for the first 60 days. After just the deductible is what you owe, and then it gets a little bit complex. $329 per day for days 61 through 90. So it's really important to understand if you just have original Medicare, what your hospital costs will be.
Let me see if I've got this right.
Okay.
So if a person becomes ill, gets hospitalized, he's responsible for the first $1,316, $1,316, and if the hospitalization lasts longer than 60 days, beginning day 61 through day 90, that person is responsible for an additional $329 per day. Is that right?
Yes. And then there is a $658 per lifetime reserve day. So after day 90 of each benefit period, up to a maximum of 60 days over your lifetime. So that there are lifetime reserve days. And
what does that mean?
Okay. So after day 90 of each benefit period, up to a maximum of 60 days over your lifetime, you won't pay more than that $658.
Okay. All right. So this is complicated, and
it is.
What about Part B? How does that work?
Okay.
What are our responsibilities on that?
Okay. So for Medicare Part B, and Medicare Part B covers all medical insurance costs, anything outside of the hospital, whether it's a doctor's visit, a test, lab work. So Medicare Part B is the premium is $134, or highly, as I said, depending on based on your income. Do you want me to go into the benefits of Part B?
Yeah, and when you talk about $134, that's not per year, that's per month.
That's per month. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
This is not free. Part B is not free.
No, it's not. Mm-hmm. It's not free.
Okay. And so what do we get? What do we get for $134 per month?
Okay. So Part B covered services covers anything. It covers all your outpatient services, medical expenses, doctor's visits, diagnostic tests. That would include any outpatient procedure, outpatient surgery, so anything that's outpatient.
Okay. That would include ambulances, preventative services,
yes.
Durable medical equipment, right?
Yes. So Part B, Medicare Part B has preventive services which cover all types of screening. And
okay, hold that thought. We're going into a break. Peggy Gawley is with us, and she's an advisor, Medicare and individual health advisor in Springfield, Missouri. Peggy, are there limitations to the people whom you can help professionally? Is there a geographic area?
Actually, I am licensed in the state of Missouri, but as an educator and instructor, I would recommend every state has what's called a State Health Insurance Assistance Program, also called SHIP, and they are non-biased, and you can call them. And what's really important is to find someone that is, what I recommend is not a captive agent. And what I mean by captive is someone who represents one particular insurance company. I'm not going to name a carrier, but you want to find someone that's more like a broker, which I am, and a broker is non-biased, and they're going to offer you all different types of plans and not one particular plan. So it's very important because every person is different in what they're looking for in a health plan. So you can get local assistance through, it's called SHIP. It's a state health insurance program. You can visit www.medicare.gov and type in the search engine SHIP, SHIP, and you can get local assistance with Medicare. They're not commissioned agents. They are volunteer, but they are very knowledgeable. Most of them are recently retired brokers or agents, so they have a wealth of knowledge, but they're not going to charge you a fee, and they're going to provide you with good information.
Peggy, in my experience, it's a minefield out there, trying to ferret out this information, get the correct answers, and so forth. And many of us would like to say, just tell me what to do. Kind of like when they go to their mechanic and the mechanic says, well, here's the problem, and there are 3 different options, and we can do any one of them. What do you want to do? And the owner of the vehicle says, well, I'm not a mechanic. I don't know. What do you recommend? Okay, is that kind of service available, or is it not allowed, where a person in your shoes could say, look, I've done all the research. This is what I do for a living. Here's all you have to do is this. This is the best value based on the circumstances you've told me. Is that something you can or cannot do?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can do that. And I agree with your comment about, the mechanic, and it's important to seek advice from a professional because they're going to give you all the tools. You need to find someone that is non-biased in one particular type of product. And that's why when I say an agent or a broker versus someone that's just wanting to sell you one type of product. And Vincent, as you know, this is very complicated. Medicare is very complicated. And I call it peeling back layers of an onion. You have to take one at a time so that people understand what they're getting. So,
Peggy, let me ask you this. Now, I mentioned in this broadcast, we teach people how to think here at USA Prepares. And I appreciate you being with us, helping us with this particular class. Mrs. Finelli spent hours and hours and hours, literally. She is not lazy. She spent a lot of time on the internet doing research, and she still had a lot of questions. And after all the questions that she developed in her mind based on her hours and hours of research, we met with you, and it still took another hour of your expert counsel to help us fully understand, or not fully, just understand more about what we were trying to do. Is that typical of what you see?
It is very typical, and that's why finding someone that you can talk direct with. A lot of my clients come in with so much knowledge, but when we sit down and we go over what their exact needs are, and here's the thing, there are state laws and federal laws. So you need someone that understands what's available to you in your individual state, because they're all different. So going on your own, it is just not enough. You need to seek the help of a professional. And a lot of people don't do this, Vincent, because they're afraid that they're fearful they're going to be sold something. Yes. And like you said, it's how you feel when you walk into a car dealership. I want a car, and I wouldn't mind someone else helping considering what to purchase, but I don't want to be sold a car.
Yes.
So a second reason for not seeking advice from a professional is the belief that you can get all the information you need on your own. But you can call Medicare, you can call other government services, but none of these sources can pass along what a good professional has learned from experience.
Yes, and that's what happened with us and our meeting with you. Mrs. Finelli did the research, and she came up to conclusions, and she and I talked about it many, many times, many different intervals. We talked about, what she found that was a little different, and maybe that should change our path and what our decisions were. Ultimately, she and I came up with decisions. We met with you, and you reinforced those very same decisions. She had already made up her mind what she thought was the best choice with all the information she had. You provided additional information, filled in the gaps, and she went with her original thought. But it was really nice to know that there was a second opinion on what she and I thought was the best way to go. And that's what we did. And it's refreshing and reassuring. So, class, Peggy is not trying to sell you something here. She's trying to tell you to do your own research and find your advocate by going to Medicare.gov and talking to the people in the SHIP, P as in Peter, department that can help you. Peggy, Medicare Part B, please continue that discussion of what's covered.
Sure. Okay. So Medicare Part B, what do you pay for Part B covered services? So under Medicare Part B, you do pay the deductible, but you must pay all costs up to the Medicare approved amount. And what I mean by that is all providers have Medicare sets a Medicare approved amount. So you will pay your yearly Part B deductible before Medicare begins to pay its share. And then, after your deductible is met, you typically pay 20% of the quote-unquote Medicare-approved amount of the service. If the doctor or other health care accepts assignment, and so what I mean by that is most providers in the country accept assignment for whatever Medicare charges. Some do not. Some can charge no more than 15% above, but there is no yearly limit for what you pay out of pocket. So, and this is just original Medicare. So, when you have that deductible, you must pay all those costs up to the Medicare-approved amount before Medicare begins to pay. You pay nothing for most covered preventive services if you get the services from a doctor or a qualified health provider who, again, accepts assignment. And, be proactive, people, with talking to your physician about whether they accept assignment. So it's really important to know what those charges are.
And tell us what you mean by accept the assignment.
Okay.
What does that mean?
What that means is Medicare has a predetermined dollar amount for each service that's rendered. So they have a set dollar amount for a procedure, for a test. So there is a Medicare approved amount that they charge, and so when you go to the doctor or the hospital, that Medicare approved amount is what the 20% is what you're going to be paying. It's just a preset dollar amount that Medicare has set for each service.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me see if I've got this right. So if I'm going to have some, a preventative service, let's pick one. Can you pick a preventative service that might happen
Sure.
to? Okay, just pick
let's
one.
see, abdominal aortic aneurysm screening.
Okay, so we have that screening, and Medicare will pay the doctor or the hospital a set amount. And you're saying make sure that that's acceptable, because if they don't accept it, are we liable for the balance?
Potentially, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially, yes. So, for example, the abdominal aortic aneurysm screening, Medicare covers a one-time screening, and you pay nothing for the screening or other services if the doctor accepts assignment. So basically, the provider has a contract with Medicare saying they're agreeing to accept what Medicare charges. So you actually should not have to pay anything if that provider, other than the 20%, if they accept assignment. If they don't accept assignment, then you could be liable for more costs.
Okay. And my understanding is that Medicare Part B is insurance that is part of original Medicare, and it covers services, supplies that are medically and supplies that are medically necessary to treat your health condition, including outpatient care, preventive services, ambulance services, and durable medical equipment. Now, durable medical equipment, does that mean walkers? Does that mean prostheses and things like that?
Yes, it does. Oxygen, anything. It can be diabetic supplies, anything that, yes, durable medical equipment is usually, and you usually purchase or pick up your supplies from a DME, durable medical equipment facility in your local town.
Okay. When we come back, can you share with us who is eligible for Medicare?
Sure.
Individuals on Social Security, disability. How does this work? End-stage retinal disease, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, people turning 65. Yeah, please share with us who's eligible for Medicare. And I can see we're not going to get done today. It's going to be 101, 102, 103, 104. We'll be right back. Peggy Gawley is with us. Let me spell that name one more time. Gawley. And if you'd like to contact her, if you're in the state of Missouri, she can help you. And her work number is 417-888-8255. 417-881-8333. Now, you notice that we don't have insurance agents typically on this broadcast. I trust Peggy. She is our advisor, and that's why I invited her to be on the air with us, because I trust the information that she's given us, and I've called her and I've asked for her assistance in resolving mistakes that were made in the marketplace, and she stayed with us literally over the period I've known her. She's been on the phone with government agencies, the marketplace, insurance providers, 2 hours on the phone. 2 separate calls, 1 hour each. She was with us. It's very frustrating. It's time consuming, but she was there. So you need your Peggy Gawley on your team, seriously. And that number one more time, 417-881-8333. This is not a commercial. This is an endorsement. Peggy, Medicare, how do we enroll in Medicare? And what are the limitations? Who's eligible? Let's put it that way.
Okay. So a person who is entitled to Social Security or railroad retirement benefits on the basis of a disability is automatically enrolled after receiving disability for 24 months. So 24 months due to disability, not age. And the special rule for people with ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, those individuals who have that disability are entitled to Medicare Part A the first month. The first month they're entitled to Social Security for railroad, so they don't have a waiting period. If you have ALS, and the other is end-stage renal disease. Individuals are eligible for premium-free Medicare Part A if they're receiving dialysis or having a kidney transplant. So those people are eligible as well. So there's 2 eligibility for Medicare. It's either due to disability or age, turning 65. So if you have a disability after 24 months, except for ALS and the renal disease, they automatically give you Medicare under 65. And then when you turn 65, that's also actually a second eligibility if you are already on disability. So Medicare is eligible due to either disability or due to age.
Okay, and what do we need to do? Do we need to be proactive, or is this going to be automatic?
Yes, and let me tell you, every insurance carrier in the country knows ahead of time that you're turning 65, and I shared this with Vincent the other day, but it bears repeating. Medicare is like pregnancy, having a baby. It takes 9 months to prepare for it. You know it's coming, and you cannot back out. It's coming. No, whether you want it to or not, it's coming. So a little bit of humor there this morning. Mm-hmm. But so Medicare enrollment, here's the key. If you are already drawing Social Security benefits, Medicare is 3 months before you're turning 65 or 3 months before your disability of 24 months. Your red, white, and blue card just will automatically come to you in the mail if you're drawing Social Security. If you're not drawing Social Security, and that is when you have to actually apply, and that's where you need to prepare. You have a 7-month open enrollment period under Medicare. You have 3 months before you're eligible. You have the month of your birthday or your eligibility date, and then 3 months. So it's 7 months.
And what if we miss it? What if we miss open enrollment? Then
if you miss open enrollment, then you will have to wait till, if you miss your initial enrollment period, which is the 7-month period, then there's a general enrollment period that takes place from January 1 through March 31st of each year.
Okay.
But you may pay a penalty. You will pay a penalty if you don't enroll within that period of time.
Peggy, this was a 101 in the series. I think we're going to have to do, I know we're going to have to do 102, 103, 104. Thanks so much for being with us. Peggy Gawley, 417-881-8333.